So tonight I watched a short film on Filmstruck that I had originally heard about last year because the star of the short film was the star of my favorite film from last year, God's Own Country. And I saw the trailer for this and was like, where is it? I need to watch it. I need to track it down. Oh my God, short films can be really hard to find outside of festivals a lot of time. Thankfully, the Criterion Channel on Filmstruck acquired it as part of a double feature and short with Basil Dearden's Victim, starring Dirk Bogarde. And if you have not seen Victim, definitely seek that out. It is a pioneering LGBT film from the 1960s, most notable for being the first time the word homosexual was actually used in a feature film, and starring Dirk Bogarde, who was indeed a gay man. Color of His Hair, the short film directed by Sam Ashby, was based on a treatment by Elizabeth Montague, who wrote it for sorry, I've got like notes in 3 different places. Where'd it go? Oh God. Okay, for the Homosexual Law Reform Society, which is a society that was founded in England after the Wolfenden Report, which came out in 1957, was basically shot down. The Wolfenden Report basically said they need to decriminalize homosexuality amongst men. It needs to be okay. Like, it's causing more crime than good, and it needs to just stop. And if you know your history, you know that it was not decriminalized or mostly decriminalized until 1967 in England, so full 10 years later. So this original screen treatment was written in 1964, about halfway between, or 2/3 of the way between the original Wolfenden Report and when, in 1967, homosexuality was mostly decriminalized. I say mostly because there's some nuance there. You should look that up. So when Sam Ashby, the director of The Color of His Hair, was doing research for a different project called Queering Love, Queering Hormones for the BFI, he discovered this treatment and wanted to make it into a film. However, due to various factors, it's not a complete adaptation of the treatment. Instead, it's part dramatization of a key moment in the middle of the film, as well as a documentary about the archive, about 1960s homosexuality in England, about what gets left out of archives, about why this was impactful in the 60s, but how it's kind of short-sighted now because it was a well-to-do, rich white people. And of course, you can get sympathy if you're showing rich white people, but what's lacking is the truth of the fact that homosexuality and queer people make up every facet of life. And so the film is sort of an interesting both commentary on what was important in the 60s and how lacking in scope history can be, as well as how important archives are, but how, again, limited and lacking they can be based on basically how history is by those who wrote it. History is by those who left something behind to be archived. And there's a great line in it where one of the archivists, I think, was talking about if you looked at archives from the 60s and 70s, you would think that all gay people were activists because that's the bulk of the artifacts that are left behind. So it's an interesting film because it's a documentary, it's a critique on artifacts and history. It's a docudrama. It's a whole lot of things all in one interesting 23-minute package. If you enjoy it and you like Josh O'Connor's brief performance in it and you have not seen God's Own Country yet, please seek that one out. I absolutely adore that film. So you can watch The Color of His Hair on Filmstruck on the Criterion Channel right now. It's fantastic. It's 23 minutes. The title will be explained once you've watched the film. I highly recommend it. Also, just watch everything that you can on Filmstruck. There's so many great things. I'm going to flash my shirt real quick because, and to remind everyone that I do indeed work at Filmstruck. So they don't pay me to talk about it after hours, but I love Filmstruck so much, and there's so many good films on there, and I'm glad they brought me this film. So This again was Sam Ashby's The Color of His Hair. It is a hybrid docudrama, documentary. Came out last year in festivals. Now you can watch it on Filmstruck. I highly recommend it.